Curse of Crimson Cauldron is a direct sequel to Golden Trophy. That said, it's considerably more difficult to complete than its predecessor. Think of it as Golden Trophy in hard mode. If you found this video, you're most likely struggling with it, and are in need of some help. Well, don't worry, because I'm going to explain everything that you need to know about Crimson Cauldron. Just like last time, you'll spawn in the armory when the game initially starts. This area is safe and contains a bunch of weapons to choose from. The bow, the sword and shield are still present from Golden Trophy and act the exact same way than they did previously. As well as this, you will also find an attack potion and a wand, as new additions to your arsenal. The attack potion doubles your damage output temporarily, and also deals damage if the part is smashed on an enemy. The wand is a ranged weapon that deals high amounts of damage to the enemies. Fewer players beware, as this weapon is also known for friendly fire due to its large projectiles that teammates frequently get caught in. Once again, you'll be able to swap your weapons with new ones throughout the entire dungeon, and some weapons such as a crossbow can only be found during the run itself. When you and your team have finished grabbing all your weapons, simply stand on the mat and grab the door to begin. During this quest, you'll encounter harder to defeat goblins, all presenting you with a new and unique challenge you'll have to overcome. There are a few enemies in this quest that are a real handful to get rid of, for example the bog monster and its stupid amount of health. Either way, I have faith in your ability to pull this off. Luckily, this quest also has a few familiar faces, which should make things easier for you. An example would be the melee goblin, who also makes an appearance in Golden Trophy. The melee goblin is your basic enemy with low health and low attack speeds. Typically, one sword swing is enough to deal with these guys, and it's made even easier with the inclusion of the attack potion, which allows your bow and wand to also dispose of them with ease. The AI difficulty does not differ from Golden Trophy, so they're the same mindless green blobs that we all come to know and love. Especially you, Kevin, you legend. The second enemy type that you encounter is a shield goblin, who possesses a rather large shield that's actually bigger than the goblin itself. It's quite comical really, especially when you see one of these guys charging at you and you can only see its head peeking out from behind the shield. Under normal circumstances, you'll jump behind it and attack it. With using an attack potion, you can actually render the shield useless and pierce straight through it. You usually see this type of goblin hanging around with melee goblins, and they'll try to defeat you with their sheer numbers. Luckily, they are just about as smart as a preschooler, and will run at you in a conga line ready to be defeated. You'll also run into cannon goblins, who are usually nestled in their towers shooting cannonballs at you every few seconds. Luckily, the projectiles are quite slow and easy to dodge. You'll be able to tell you're being attacked by them when you hear explosions and whistles as the cannonball slowly makes its way over to you. These guys are deadly, especially when you aren't paying attention, and the explosions limit your movements considerably. To beat them, just climb their tower and attack them. You can also shoot them with your bow or wand from below, although the angle is incredibly tricky. Another familiar face from Golden Trophy is the Imp, which is an area enemy that stays back and shoots fireballs at you. These guys are a nightmare for sword users to deal with, so I'd personally recommend using a bow, crossbow or wand here to defeat them safely. However, using a sword against these guys is not impossible, as you can dodge their fireballs, get up close and personal, and then smash them with your blade. Once you've successfully landed one hit, they'll drop to the ground, allowing you to finish them off with ease. You will also run into the Barrel Knight, who can be encountered in Golden Trophy. These guys are quite unique, as they can only be hit from behind, and also have a unique attack pattern when compared to the other goblins. They will lower their axe and charge at you, which can catch you off guard if you're not paying attention. If you are able to dodge this attack, they'll be stunned and exposed, allowing you to get some hits in before they swing around for another attack. You'll also find that they have more health than your average goblin, making them a truly formidable foe, unless you know how to double shoot, because that shreds the Barrel Knights. Just like Golden Trophy, these enemies also have elite counterparts that can be told apart by their regular variants by using the colour of their skin. Where regular goblins have green, these guys have red. To start with, the elite goblin is just as mindless as its regular counterpart. However, these guys are deadlier due to their increased health, damage and speed. The use of an attack potion makes defeating them a lot easier, but it will still be a challenge. You know when an angry child runs at you swinging their arms and screaming, only for you to stop them with one hand? That's how these guys act. They're pretty easy to handle when you expect them, but when they catch you off guard, it can be fatal. I would suggest using a sword for this type of goblin, as it allows you to deal with them swiftly, even if they manage to get the jump on you. If you know how to double shoot, that is also a viable strategy here. The Imp also has an elite variant that is twice as deadly as its regular counterpart. This is because they have a higher health pool, faster attacks and movement speeds, as well as a different attack pattern to its predecessor, making them harder to dodge. The attack pattern in question is a burst consisting of 5 fireballs, which is the sword user's worst nightmare. Because of this, I would suggest using a bow, crossbow or wand to deal with them from a range. Once you hit them, they'll fall to the ground, just like their predecessor, which allows you to deliver the final few hits. Like most things, this process will be made a lot easier with the assistance of an attack potion, which will allow the fight to be a lot shorter. The final elite enemy you encounter is also from Golden Trophy. It is the elite Barrel Knight. Just like the others, this enemy attacks faster, moves faster and has a lot more health overall, which makes him really difficult to deal with. It also comes with a different attack pattern, which is more advanced and harder to deal with. This guy's pretty much a nightmare on wheels. Just like the regular version, its weak spot is on its back, meaning you have to flank it in order to do the best results. However, there is a twist, no pun intended, because it will attempt to protect the spot by spinning in circles with an axe. If you are able to hit it, the goblin will be stunned, allowing you to finish it off. This can be sped up by the use of an attack potion, which will let you finish the fight with only a few hits. If I had to recommend a weapon to use here, it will be the sword, since you're able to capitalise on the short window where the enemy stops spinning and do the most damage possible. During your adventure, you also run into a witch, which cannot be damaged through regular means. Not even a damage potion can attack the enemy normally. Instead, you'll need to deflect the giant energy balls that it shoots at you. This can be done in a variety of ways, with the most common thing being a sword, since most people have that on hand. However, you can also deflect them with a shield, throwing a potion at it, or a pot. Don't ask me why, I really have no clue. I don't know the science behind everyday objects being able to deflect magic. You think a chair would work? It would certainly be a power move. One of the strongest and most loved enemies you will encounter in this quest is the bog monster, with such a high health pool that you may as well consider it a mini-boss. It appears when you try to leave the bog area, so be prepared for a fight. Around the arena, you'll find plenty of attack potions, wands, and bows to get you through the fight. I wouldn't try to stab it with your sword as the water around it is pretty deadly, so it's best to play it safe. I mean, you could technically throw your sword, I'm not going to stop you, that would be pretty neat. All you have to do here is dodge the fireballs and attack whenever you get the opportunity to. Once beaten, it will let out a defeated cry before retreating back to the swamp where it belongs. That's when you know you can move on to the next stage. Now with the bog monster, I must warn you, it's quite known for glitching out and leaving the bog, so it'll just be wandering around the stage. If that happens, it's going to be a much harder fight, but that's a rare encounter. The final enemy is the Crimson Witch, and can be found at the top of her tower. Similarly to regular witches found earlier, the Crimson Witch follows a similar mechanic. You have to deflect their magic attacks back at them using a sword, striking it once it falls to the ground. This will be repeated 3 times. The boss will also summon waves of enemies to defend itself. The more damage you deal, the more enemies are summoned to attack you. There are no tricks to this fight other than using pure skill to win, so I wish you luck in your endeavours. All the skills that you have learned throughout the quest will be implied here, so be prepared for a difficult fight. There's this part of the quest that I noticed that a lot of players struggle with, so I'm going to guide you through it, and that place is the mines. When you finally arrive at the mines, you notice steam coming out of the pipes. This is the most deadly part of the quest in my opinion, and so many people just die here not realising that this steam is actually deadly, and it should be avoided in all costs. In order to get through this section, you need to only move when the steam stops. Sounds simple, right? But not really. You have to fight waves of enemies to make way through the mines, which can be difficult. As well as this, you also find these large red barrels laying all over the place. These are highly explosive and they'll blow you up in one hit, so I wouldn't stab it if I were you. Instead, you can use a ranged weapon, preferably a bow, to detonate it. This will come in handy when you're being overwhelmed by enemies or fighting elite enemies. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you now have a greater understanding of Crimson Cauldron and how to make your way through its various challenges. If you'd like to get better at Golden Trophy, please click here. And if you enjoyed the video, please leave a rating. See you next time!